we got the Broncos and the Panthers, and the Broncos are favored by a point. Over under on this one, 36. What are your thoughts here?
I'm thinking Carolina covers. Like I refuse to say the Broncos are going to win another game this season. Like I just really refuse to say it. If it happens, great, yay. I'm not betting the game necessarily, but I think the Broncos find a way to choke this one away again. Carolina wins outright because they're at home, and Denver does stupid Denver type things. I'm still taking the under though, even at 36 points. It started at 35. It just crept up to 36. Honestly, if you're wanting to bet the under, if you're really wanting to bet the under, wait until right before game time, because I think this game might sneak up another half a point or point and give you that little bit more cushion to be able to hammer that under. But even at 36, I'm taking it. Like, I just don't see how you are able to say the Broncos are going to score more than 18 points. Like, that you need the Broncos to score 19 points to basically get to this game total. They've scored 19 points how many times, Derek? Once.
Yep. And the one time they did do it, they lost. Go figure.
Right. And I guess it wasn't once. I mean, they did it.
I'd have to go back and check every score, but it has been that bad. Like, it has been awful. Yeah, this is one of those that I'm not convinced that Russell Wilson doesn't realize that he plays in Denver and not Seattle, because at this way, the way they're trending, Seattle might get a top 5 draft pick this year from the Broncos in that trade.
Yeah.
Like, that
was never the plan, right? Like, you were expecting, they made that trade. You're thinking, okay, at worst, Seattle gets like the 20th overall pick.
Right. And even then,
the 5th.
Right.
Like, embarrassing. Like, the Broncos offensively are an absolute embarrassment. I don't care. If Javonte Williams was healthy, I assume it might make up for one of these games.
Right.
One. So they're 4-6 instead of 3-7. Like, I refuse to say a running back makes up all the difference in the world when their offensive line and quarterback production has been as bad as this is. Now, the first half against the Raiders looked better. Clint Kubiak calling plays looked better in the first half. But the second half looked the exact same. So I don't – the Panthers have been stingy enough on defense. I think the under is a sure thing. I really do. So hammer the under. I'm taking the Panthers. Obviously, with a 1-point spread, they're getting, about, what is it, Derek, 52-47 type money here on that. So
yeah, about that.
It's even, which is why Vegas left the number there. But I think to a man, if you got to talk to one of those guys, they'd say there's no way Denver's winning this game.
Right. Actually, you know what's crazy? We were talking about how many times the Broncos have gotten to 18 points or more in a game. Twice. It's happened 2 times. Once in a loss to the Raiders and once in a win against Jacksonville. Like, other than that, they've scored 16 points in a loss, 16 points in a win, 11 points in a win, 23 points in a loss, 9 points in a loss, 16 points in a loss, 9 points in a loss, 21 points in a win, 10 points in a loss, 16 points in a loss. So I don't know that there's any way that you can see the Broncos get to halfway of this 36 point total on that one to cover that thing and take you to the over. So I'm taking the under. I'm right there with you. The Broncos have allowed the fewest amount of actual real points in the NFL. And Carolina has struggled putting points on the board. The Broncos have struggled putting points on the board. So I'm going to call for Carolina to cover this. I think they win. I think at home they managed to get the win at home. The under I think the under is a pretty easy one to go with here. And I'm taking Russell Wilson under 1.5 passing touchdowns. We've seen him only do that once, I think, all season. So I'm just going to keep riding that train until he makes me lose something on that one.
I'm taking Deontay Foreman over 54.5 rushing yards. The line's a little interesting, honestly. Like, I thought it'd be a little bit heavier than that when I went and found it, but I think he finds a way to get to about 60 yards Like I don't think he's going to go gangbusters, but I do think he finds a way to get to about 60 yards because he's just about the only reason Carolina's going to move the ball against the Broncos.